안녕하세요. 포커스피플의 김영태입니다. 지난주에 H마트에 우연찮게 갔다가 열심히 한국 분들과 인터뷰하고 인사 나누시는 분을 보게 됐었어요. 저분이 누군가 계속 보고 있었는데 오늘 제가 인터뷰하실 분을 이렇게 또 모시게 됐네요. 요번 선거에서 텍사스 제65지구에 출마하신 알렉스 멘도사 모시고 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요. Hello. 간략하게 누구신지 좀 소개 좀 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
So, my name is Alex Mendoza, and I'm a first generation Mexican American. My parents immigrated into this country in the 1980s. So, I am a son of immigrants, and our family, aunts and uncles, they all also immigrated from Mexico. Lived in California most of my life until I joined the military after high school. I went to the United States Marine Corps for several years and came to Texas for employment. And after moving here, I attended the University of North Texas. I graduated from UNT. I met my wife here. My wife is also an immigrant. She is an immigrant from Ghana in West Africa. And we've been married for about 8 years. We have 2 young children, 6 and 4 years old, and first grade and pre-kindergarten. So they attend our neighborhood schools, both of them. Currently, I am a small business owner. I do independent business consulting for companies all over the country. And my wife and I also own a nonprofit organization. It is a recognized 501c3 organization, and our work primarily focuses in Africa right now because of my wife being from Africa. But what we do is we focus on expanding educational opportunities and environmental awareness in the local population within Ghana and West Africa.
이번 선거에 하원 의원으로서 65지구라는 곳에 출마하셨다고 되어 있는데 어디를 포함하고 있는 건가요?
District 65 is within Denton County. And in Denton County, there are several districts. District 65 is at the southern tip of Denton County. So it includes the city of Dallas that is within Denton County, Carrollton that is within Denton County, Louisville, a little bit of the colony, all the way up 35 to Highland Village. But again, it's all within Denton County.
그 지금 모든 커버하는 지역이 한국 사람들이 참 많이 살기도 한 지역이기도 하네요. 아까 처음에 말씀하신 것처럼 자기 오운 비즈니스가 있으신데 어떠한 계기로 이 정치를 하게 되는지 궁금합니다.
It's probably a long story what got me into politics, but I think it started back in high school when I was in California. In 1994, California had a proposition on the ballot. It was Proposition 187. And that proposition was aimed at immigrants or undocumented immigrants within the state. And being a teenager at that time, was probably 16 or 17 years old, the passage of that law would impact my family directly. And the purpose of that law was for organizations or companies, hospitals and schools to reject individuals who were here as undocumented immigrants. So schools will turn students away. Hospitals could deny you service simply because you were an undocumented immigrant. So it was very personal to me. And that's when I started to become involved. It was one issue that really propelled me into being involved in the community. And I mean, this was, again, I was very young, 16, 17 years old, and I helped organize students. And the purpose of that organization, or what we did to organize, was to try to educate those who were U.S. citizens, who were not registered to vote, and make sure that they were aware that this law would be a problem for undocumented immigrants. So that one issue, that's what got me into politics. So I've been involved in politics in one way or another since 1994, when that law first was introduced in California. And in 2008, during President Obama's first campaign, I worked on his campaign in 2008. So that was my first opportunity to work in electoral politics and get a real comprehensive understanding or view of all the many different issues. Where prior to that, I think I was focused on singular issues like immigration or the environment or education. But it wasn't until 2008 that I was introduced again to the broad spectrum of all the different issues that are important and that we should be aware of. And so since 2008, I have been involved in my local community in one way or another, and either encouraging others to participate and become involved. We were living here in Louisville within the district, so we've been living in Denton County for 8-9 years, I think. And I saw the problems that we were having with our education system. And we love our neighborhood, we love our city, we love our community, and we know we want to stay here and keep our children here. And that's when it became evident to me that if I wanted to see an improvement, that I had to do something about it. And that's when I became more and more involved within the local Democratic Party. And I ran in 2014 for the same seat that I am running for now, to be a state representative. And I'm running again in 2016. So my biggest motivation now is my children, and make sure that they have a school, a safe school that they could go to. But also because of all the immigration issues that we've seen in the last couple of years.
본인이 이민자의 아들로서 태어났고 또 그리고 지금 어린 아이들 둘을 키우고 있기 때문에 더더욱이나 교육과 이민에 관심을 갖고 있는데, 사실 한국 사람들도 똑같이 여기에 대한 관심이 있는 건 똑같은 이슈입니다. 그래서 어느 신문을 보니까 한국 사람을 가장 대변해 줄 수 있는 후보일 거다라는 이야기가 있었는데, 혹시 한국에 대해서 알고 있는 게 있나요?
You know, growing up in California in an immigrant community, we've always been a multicultural, or we've always lived in a multicultural community, where it's not just like myself, Mexican Americans or Latino, Hispanic, but we've had large Asian populations and other immigrants and other minorities too in the community. Interestingly enough, my first real experience, I think, with Korean community or Koreans in general was in 1998. I was in the United States Marine Corps, and we did a training exercise with the Korean Marines. There was a unit that came from Korea into Camp Pendleton, and that was my first experience at really talking to somebody, I think, one-on-one that lived in Korea and that had come to the United States.
한국 음식은 먹어본 적 있어요?
Absolutely, every chance I have. And my wife also enjoys Korean food. We both enjoy ethnic foods. My kids, we take them to many different restaurants. I've had a great opportunity during this election cycle, or during that campaign, that we have staff that is Korean. So we've been within the H Mart area. We've been able to go to many different locations. So I'm very happy about that.
교육에 대한 걸 어떤 방법으로 발전시킬 수 있는 건지 여쭙고 싶습니다.
For education, that's been an issue that has consistently been at the top of when I talk to people in the community, when I talk to voters, the importance of education is very high. And that has been consistent across the Korean community, the Latino, Mexican, Hispanic community, the African American community. So when I'm elected, one of the things that we can do right away is make sure that we have adequate funding for our schools. Previous years, all the way back to 2013, about $4.6 billion was cut from the education budget. And it impacted our schools here locally, Carrollton Farmers Branch, Louisville ISD. It impacted some of the schools where now we are seeing classrooms with larger students. So teachers have larger classrooms now as far as students are concerned. So in this next legislative session, we have a great opportunity to invest more money into our schools. And even investing some of the money that we can, it still doesn't get us to the 2013 levels that we had funding. So not only do we need to at least reach the same level of funding, but I want to make sure that we increase it. population growth. We have more and more students in our schools. Technology is changing. We're in a great area here in Carrollton and Louisville where it's just economically it's just growing. A lot of businesses are coming into the area. So we're expecting a larger population growth or a large population growth. And so we have to fund our schools to keep up with all of that demand. And we can't do it at the current levels that we have now in the funding. So that is a priority when I'm elected, to make sure that those funds or that funds are directed to fully fund our education system.
이민법에 대한 후보님의 생각은 어떤 것을 갖고 있나요?
Yeah. Well, immigration to me is very personal. I experienced it as a young kid. I saw my parents go through the process. They were undocumented in this country for many years, and we navigated through that process to become legal residents. And it was a long process. It wasn't an easy process. I remember it was very difficult. It took a lot of time, but it was something that they wanted to do, and they were willing to go through that process. And they did it because they wanted to make sure that myself and my brother and my sister had opportunities to achieve what we wanted to achieve in this country. So our system now, I feel that it needs to be fixed and it needs to be expanded. We need to focus on the people who are here already as undocumented immigrants. Very similar, like my parents, a process very similar to like that my parents went through. That if they are here as undocumented immigrants and they go through this process and making sure that they abide by the laws, that they follow the rules and they follow a certain process, that they have an opportunity to become legal residents. Another larger, which is a much larger population, are people who came into this country on a legal visa. So they entered the country legally and they just happened to overstay their visa. So now they're here. We have to find a process that works for that population as well. Again, that population is much larger than the people who are here as undocumented immigrants. So we have to look at that population. And going through a very similar process, if they had been here in this country, they have followed the laws, doing background checks, whatever it is that they have that opportunity to become legal residents and ultimately become U.S. citizens. But they remain in this country. What we want to avoid, now looking at the entire immigration process, what we want to avoid is breaking families apart or splitting them up. Many people, like my parents who came here where we were very young, this is the only country that I know. I've lived in this country the majority of my life. There are many people who are like that, many kids who have, this is the only country that they know. They cannot be deported. And there are kids who were born in this country while their parents were undocumented or they overstayed their visa. Right now, many of those families are being split up. Parents are being deported, kids are staying here, or the father is being deported and the mother staying here with the kids. We want to somehow protect those families. That if they are identified as somebody that needs to be deported, not because of a trouble with the law, but just because they were identified, they were pulled over, or a traffic infraction or something very minimal, that we safeguard those families and keep them together so we don't split them up. So that's another focus that we have. And we have an opportunity, being in Texas, being a border state, we have a large immigrant population. So that's something that we can attempt to do at the state level.
단순하면서도 중요한 질문을 하나 던지겠습니다. 왜 한국 사람이 멘도자 씨를 뽑아야 됩니까?
I have been in this community for many years. The Korean community and my community, we're all one. We're all in the same community. We go to the same schools. We shop in the same supermarkets. We drive on the same roads. So when I look at the Korean community, I look at my own community. I see us as sharing everything that we have, and the issues that are important to the Korean community are the same issues that are important to the Latino, Hispanic community. So our communities are very, very similar, and I see us as being just as one family. And as I mentioned, we're in this community together. I have seen this community grow, and development that we've seen in this community has been in large part due to the Korean community. And we want to make sure that those opportunities continue to be there for not just the Korean community, but the Latino community and our entire community as a whole.
지금 멘도사 후보를 지지하는 분들과 또 투표하실 분들에게 인사 한 말씀 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
I do want to thank the Korean community and the larger Asian community for the support in this campaign. We've seen the community come out and support, and I appreciate it, and I thank the entire community for everything that they've done and that they continue to do. And I know that once I'm elected, we will continue to work together and prosper together and look for opportunities to continue to enhance our community in the best ways possible. So, 감사합니다.
요즘 한국 정치나 미국 정치나 막장이라는 단어 하나로 모든 게 표현됩니다. 투표하시는 분들의 무책임 때문에 이런 결과가 나타난다는 생각도 들어요. 좋은 분들에게 투표하시기 바랍니다. 포커스 피플의 김영태였습니다. 감사합니다.